of football with the man from Memphis, the mastermind, Vincent Turner. And today we've got a special show for you. Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. Leading in here, he was the bow-legged from wearing braces on his legs like Charles Woodson. He was also a member of the USC Sprint Relay Quartet that broke the world record in the 4x110-yard relay. Vincent Turner goes in on the man once known as the Juice and what made him the darling of America before his great fall. Vincent Turner covers O.J. Simpson here on 100 Yards of Football.
O.J. Simpson. What more can I say? Galileo, high school, junior college, the city of San Francisco. Man, he was a special football player. And when I'm growing up in Memphis, Tennessee at the 901 at 7 years old, I can tell you this. I know OJ had a fall from grace. That's no question about it. But to the USC football nation, he became, at that time, my favorite football player on any level, college, pro, high school. 7 years old, O.J. Simpson was the man. And what I like about him most of all, he played at a school at USC out there in L.A. California, the city of Compton. And boy, he was with a program that's already established. Bryce Taylor, 1925. Don Williams, 1928. Norman Bean, 1937. James Hardy, 1944. Frank Gifford, 1951. John Arnett, 1956. My man, C.R. Roberts, 1956. Ron Mix, 1959. Willie Brown, 1963. And the great Mike Garrett, 1965. All of them was for O.J. Simpson before he stepped his foot in South Central on the campus of USC. But let's talk about the great man as a football player, the running back. Think about O.J. Simpson, what he did. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1968. Played 11 seasons in the NFL. In 1973 at the NFL level, he became the first running back to go over 2,000 yards in a season. Averaged almost 143 yards a game. First round pick in the 1969 NFL draft. Voted in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1983 when I was only 23 years old. Then he was voted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame 2 years later in 1985. Two-time rushing champ in the National Football League 1973 and 1975. In his career stats, over 11,236 yards and 47 touchdowns on the NFL level. But where I really became a fan of O.J. Simpson and how he changed my life from a college football standpoint, is when he stepped on the campus of USC. And the skill set was just marvelous. Just something about the young man, sprinter size, the ability to just go on a national level out there in LA and put a program that already had national juice to another level. The skill set, when he stepped on campus in 1967, the lateral quickness, A+. The explosive start, A+. Movement on the snap, A+. The ability to cut, A+. Run instincts, A+. The vision, A+. The ability to hop in the hole and cut, A+. The legs on contact, the leg drive, A+. The balance, the body control. He was looking like a guy just moving through the hole like a pool hustler. You know how when you shooting pool and you're hitting them balls and they're going into the pocket? OJ was like that in his first year at USC. then the speed. 4x100, Ferrari, Corvette. Unbelievable. A+. In the burst and acceleration, A+. In the extra gear, A+. Well, I'm going to tell you, when I finally became a fan of this great athlete, 1967 college football season started. At the beginning of the year, everybody was talking about running backs at that position, right? There was word coming out of West Lafayette, Indiana, about a young man by the name of Leroy Keys. There was a young man up there in Syracuse, New York, by the name of Larry Zonka. And then, of course, everybody talking about the quarterback position, Gary Beeman out of UCLA. Then on the defensive side of the ball, they was talking about Ted Hendricks. Then it's talking about another gentleman on the defensive side of the ball, Granfield Liggins out of Boomer, Sooner, Oklahoma. And then it was talking about a defensive back out of Colorado by the name of Dick Anderson. But nobody heard of O.J. Simpson. But that changed for me on October the 14th, 1967. Big game, USC playing their arch rival Notre Dame. The Trojans ranked number 1 in the country at the time. Granted, nobody had heard of O.J. Simpson, the running back out of Galileo High School by way of San Francisco. Notre Dame presence had beaten USC the year before and won the national championship, but had beaten USC 51-0 in LA. But you know what happened that day and that Sunday day in South Bend, Indiana? This when I knew O.J. Simpson was born. Phenomenal game. 38 carries. Over 160 yards. Had a magnificent 35-yard touchdown run. And that's when I started following USC at 7 years old. But what changed it for me? November the 18th, 1967. Number 4 USC taking on number 1 UCLA. Arch rivals trying to battle over the city of LA. Marilyn Monroe, John Wayne, Neil Armstrong. Hollywood at its finest. Sunny before 93,000 at the LA Coliseum. What a football game. Chris Schenkel and Bud Wilkerson, the announcers of the game, going back and forth. But this would change me. And that's why today I'm an avid college football fan. A little guy down in Memphis, Tennessee, from the 901, watching the game on a color TV field coat in my parents' house in the den at 763 Don Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee, watching O.J. Simpson and USC going against UCLA. As I mentioned a few seconds ago, the game is going back and forth. Gary Beeman playing off the change. UCLA up 20-14. Fourth quarter, almost 10 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 7 from the USC 34-yard line. John McKay, the head coach at the time, sends in the play called to Steve Sargi, the quarterback. It's a pass on 3rd and 7, but Mr. Sargi goes up to the line of scrimmage and he changed the play. Red 23. And as OJ stated in his comments about that play, what in the hell is Steve doing? Well, Mr. Sargi looked out front and saw UCLA was double covering the outside receiver, who was Earl McCullough at the time, O.J. Simpson's best friend. So they ran red 23. O.J. Simpson, 18 yards, about 7 yards deep in the backfield. He's about 18 inches from the fullback. They give it to O.J. He comes to the right hole. He cuts and he makes that jump step at about the 45-yard line. You can go watch it on YouTube. And he cuts back. And all of a sudden, he's in the clear. And that speed, he's like a Corvette, a Lamborghini. He's flying like a bird. And he takes it 64 yards. And on November 18th, 1967, that's when Vincent Turner became the fan of O.J. Simpson. At that time, the most explosive football player in all of college football. USC goes up 21-20. They kick the extra point. That defense is able to hold up the rest of the game, led by Jimmy Gunn, Mike Battle, and Adrian Young, and USC wins that epic football game 21-20. The rest of the season, USC wins the rest of the games. They go on and win the Rose Bowl. They beat Indiana 14-3. Mr. Simpson has 113 yards, I think, in that game. He's the MVP, and USC is crowned national champions. Then the following season, they go undefeated. Mr. Simpson wins the Heisman Trophy. And they play the Ohio State Buckeyes and get upset by a team that had the Super Sophomores 27-16. That team led by Rex Kern, Jack Tatum, Jim Steelwagon, John Brockleton, Jan White. But O.J. Simpson ended his career on probably one of the most outstanding runs in that ball game, an 80-yard touchdown run. And then that's when I knew there was something special about this man. And the thing about O.J. Simpson, even when he got to the NFL, and I just mentioned his awards and honors, is that I really never saw nobody really get a good hit on him. He really, to me, throughout his career, really never took a pounding, except the one hit in the Rose Bowl that Jack Tatum put on him. He was a guy that always seemed able to get up like there was nothing going on. And then, of course, you know what he did in the National Football League, as I just mentioned. 11,236 yards, 47 touchdowns. Became the first back in a single season to go over 2,000 yards in 14 games. He averaged almost 143 yards a game, which is still a record. We could talk about what happened after his post-career. We all know that. I'm not going to repeat that here on 100 Yards of Football. But when you talk about a running back, a football player, and a guy that was pretty successful, had everything you wanted out of San Francisco, size, good looking, the darling of America, playing for maybe one of the top 3 college football programs of all time, and then coming from junior college in 2 years, changing my heart and my face about college football. It's no better person or player that's done that on a college football level. His name is O.J. Simpson. Take this from O.J. We're not perfect in this life. We make mistakes. God knows I've made mistakes. And we ask God for our forgiveness. Today, I'm not asking anything about O.J. Simpson because he's so much of that figure, if you know what I mean. But what I'm going to do today, and I've done here on 100 Yards of Football, I've only talked about what he's done on the field. And he changed this little guy's heart. Now I'm a grown guy, I'll be 62 July 17th. But he changed my heart as a 7-year-old. Where every Saturday I had to run to the TV. Back in 1967 and 1968, if USC was on TV, I don't care where I was. I had to see O.J. Simpson carry that loaf. One more time, the skill set, the lateral quickness, A+, the movement on the snap, A+, the ability to create, A+, drive legs on contact, A+, retain body control, A+, the balance, A+, and November 18th, 1967 versus UCLA, that electrifying 64-yard touchdown run. That was special. That was special. California, the Trojans. Willie Brown, 63. Ron Mix, 59. Mike Garrett, 65. Bryce Taylor, 1925. C.R. Roberts, 1956. John Arnett, 1955. And the legend Frank Gifford, 1951. That was before O.J. Simpson. And after that, he took it to another level. Tailback U, Charles White, Marcus Allen, Reggie Bush, Landale White. I don't have to say no more. So, if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I've been your host, Vincent Turner. I'm surely proud and honored this morning to be able to present O.J. Simpson on the platform of 100 Yards of Football. To my producer this morning, Mr. Logan Landers, for making it happen. And to my man, bringing me up this morning, the greatest voice of all of TV and radio, Mr. Mark Bass. I'm surely thankful and surely blessed this morning. So my final words about O.J. Simpson. You think about California, you think about USC, you think about the times out there, it's sunny, the beaches, the mountains. I only got to go with Chicago, baby. Because when I watch the Trojans play, and I watch that campus, and I watch Hollywood, it's simple to me. Saturday in the park, I think it was the 4th of July. People dancing, people laughing, a man selling ice cream, singing Italian songs. O.J. Simpson. Like the video, please come in and share it. Vincent Turner, or 100 Yards of Football. Thank you.